ᴪᴏᴅ day, it's Gyepi. ᴪᴏᴅ morning, ᴪᴏᴅ afternoon, ᴪᴏᴅ evening, ᴪᴏᴅ night even, whatever ᴪᴏᴅ may be working the best for you. Today we are here to continue Anamnesia, Am I My Body Part 1 visual novel. That is a mystery psychological visual novel. I did expect it to have so many gory and horror scenes and perhaps jump scares, but it's so far very calm and very tense as atmosphere, and I do love it about it because of it. So we're going to proceed with the story. It's gonna be a longer stream compared to yesterday, because yesterday I had somewhere to go to. But then I was planning to stream after lunch, and what basically happened? I came upon an injured heron, and that was quite a mess to take care of. I swear, we tried to call for so many associations, because basically the heron had one leg out of use. They couldn't move it, and they couldn't even fly, so the poor animal was so terrified and also in pain, I guess. We tried to call many associations that should have been able to help the animal, and no one wanted to pick it up. It seems like in our country, they do not pick up injured animals, you have to take them there. But even a volunteer did pick up once and said, "Oh, I can do nothing about it, I'm an actual volunteer. The other workers do come here at 5 p.m. And I was like, okay, can they pick it up? No, you have to take it here. And I was like, well, why do you tell me then that you're a volunteer and you can do nothing if the other workers as well wouldn't come to pick it up? So I was there like a crazy fox indeed, because basically the heron was stuck in between of so many tiny branches, those tiny trees, super tiny trees that are grouped together. And basically the heron was in between of a huge thing like that. So this tiny sneaky fox was glad that she was able to move a lot of branches, but still many trees did break, sadly. But I had to choose there. The birdie has to be saved or the tree untouched, so I choose the birdie, of course. So after so many attempts, when I got closer to it, it got scared and was like and moving around the place there, in between of those branches just yet, so I was going super crazy. The branches stuck in my hair and whatnot. And after a bit I noticed it, that I tried to put a scarf upon it, upon its back, just to get closer to it somehow and to not touch it with my hands, because I don't know what happens if you touch a heron with your bare hands, if you can do that, if you cannot do that. I know nothing about birds. I never owned a bird, and I am not informed about any bird. So then I tried to pick it up slowly, to touch it slowly, to caress it, to pat. It was already trusting me. I was crying inside, looking at this bird that was terrified, in pain, scared, and I bet it was so hungry because it's been there for hours before we arrived, that's for sure. Maybe days even, I have no idea, poor baby. And then it just trusted me when I started to try lifting it, and that's when the painful part comes. I bet the birdie felt some pain, and it was like when I tried to pick it up, but it was so loud. I was scared all the time that heron would bite me with its beak, because they do have long legs and a long beak, and I am always terrified. We do already have some geese at the area, wild geese, and when the male goose does get angry or scared, goodness, you have to run because it gets into the position of attacking you and then comes to you, quack, 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 all angry, and it's actually a bit scary, I never had a bird attacking me. I think, never, yeah. So yesterday I was quite cautious, but I realized that it only merely screamed because I bet of pain it felt. It never tried to bite me, never. So it took me an hour to put that bird, big courageous baby bird, in car, and we managed to take it to the place where it's been taken care of, but goodness, only to pick it up took me an hour. Then we had to wait 4 p.m, 4:30, and at 5 p.m. the others would come up, so at 4:30 we could start running the car, because it was half an hour from there by car. Hi Rin, hi, how are you doing? And we finally put the birdie in place where it would have been taken care of. I also particularly requested if I could have any updates. They did state it will be easier if I were to call them, so I'm gonna call and ask about the big bird, because I wanna know how it goes, I wanna know how it feels, if it's gonna be released, if it's gonna be kept somewhere there with them. But I believe it should heal pretty well. I'm not sure if the leg was broken or what. It could move its toes. Are those called toes for the birds? I don't know. The leg was out of use totally, poor baby. And the wing couldn't fly because it had a little hole in it. So I kind of think it was shot. And I'm so angry. I'm crazy angry. Like, herons are in this area everywhere. Like, I'm already angry at people who hurt animals. And even if I'm shooting to be something funny to do, but shooting a heron that is basically everywhere over here, like, how idiotic you should be to shoot it. And that poor bird just like, I bet it had a hole in the wing, couldn't fly anymore, and it fell down and broke its legs. Like, that's heartbreaking. And I'm so glad I came to find it because, yeah, I'm really happy actually I came to find it. And I asked the Kato to drive back to check upon the bird. He was like saying, no, it's just there. Let's go home. Because he was grumpy because I had to wake him up early for some documents to take care of and whatnot. Early to him, that is. It wasn't actually that early. Hello, I'm doing fine. Glad to hear so. And yeah, because also mainly when someone does see an injured animal or possibly injured animal, they do not even stop to check on it. Figures if the volunteers would tell them, you have to take it here, half an hour of car drive from there, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't get through the hassle of picking it up. And I'm so thankful to the restaurant that was in front of the area where the heron was, because they gave me a box to put the bird in. Goodness. But yeah, always well that ends well. And it's time to begin once again the visual novel to resume it. So today I'm aiming to stream for longer compared to yesterday, since there is no heron issue. And I have nowhere to go to urgently. The game did close once again because the putter is dying. I did find finally the place where I do have to take the putter so it can be cleaned inside properly, because it's the issue, like, you know, the dust within the laptop, not my laptop. So this is why I got the goal put up. I actually linked the new putter goal, donation goal, up on the throne. That is easier to keep track of, I do believe. So you can see the progress here on stream, the QR that leads you to the throne page and whatnot. And yeah, actually, let me change the description of the stream. I'm gonna input the throne command there as well. So yeah, the putter also will be taken care of as soon as possible, because I did find where I have to take it, and everything will be goody soon enough. So, give me a second. Let me check if it works. I don't have a true command. Really now? Are we sure about that? Just give me a second. Oh, wishlist it was, wishlist. Sorry, forgot my own commands. I'm gonna input a new one, I guess. Just a second. Just a second. Hello, Gyepi. Seeing the notification that you're live is what made me get up today. Otherwise, I would just sleep. I'm so happy to hear so actually. Like, I'm saddened that you do still find difficulty into it. Did you ask about that issue, how to keep up with it, perhaps to a doctor or something? But I'm super happy that you managed to get up because of the stream. That's super cool. Thank you for letting me know. So how are you doing, Carbon? Over here, actually, the weather is gloomy. Not sure if it's the issue over there at your side. But here it's super gloomy and I'm struggling. I'm struggling a lot with the mood issue due to vitamin D lack and whatnot. But I do have to take it on 30, so it's still gonna be a bit of struggling for me. A week of it, to be precise. Okay, give me a second. Okay. I should have adjusted it. Let me try out once again. Pretty please. So that we can begin. My sleep is fine now. I'm just making poor choices and staying up late by choice. No, we shouldn't do that. The weather over here is so stupid. One day it's sun and almost spring, and the next day there's more snow. Snow? Goodness. Like here basically the same but no snow. Just gloomy, bothersome with fog. Or today and yesterday, as a miracle, it's raining. Like we barely had any rain overall. Okay. It does work now. Everything is in place. Yep. Okay. So that now we can begin. So, shall I sum up what happened so far in this game? We do find ourselves to be stuck in that, like, apartment, something of the sort. It looks like an apartment, but it's actually not, I believe. Like, we do wake up in a place where we barely have any memories of what did happen. We're stuck in there with two more characters, female characters, and we're the male character called Adrian, if I recall properly. And we're wondering what the hell is the place. We can access a room that is empty, made of cement, and we can unlock it with our hand pattern. That leads into different rooms, but one of them is not accessible, because there are 3 doors that can be accessed with the hand pattern, if I do recall properly, and one of them is still locked. And like overall, that's the apartment. We do get to hear some rules about what is going on. Like there are 3 sections of groups. One is ours, that is the answer team. There's another answer team, and there's a question team. One member of the question team would come to us for like 90 minutes, and we have to get as much information as possible coming to a certain member of the question team that we know nothing about. And we have to try to guess who that person is. Like we're in a state of huge confusion. What is happening? We don't remember much or at all. And we do have this thing that we have to follow, because this is basically the game of life or death. And we're even like in more difficulty due to the fact that we don't know whom to trust. We don't know if the question team person is telling us lies or not. We don't know if our teammates are lying or not. And also, I think that does irk me a lot of the main character that it is us hiding the most from the others. Goodness. So like, yeah, we don't have to follow this game of life and death. And the answer team that does fail, they will die. This is what the one behind the wall stated, that they do appear occasionally. They did ask us to call them, to name them by the name of Null, and we don't know nothing about them overall. If not that they did organize this thing. We don't know if it's an actual game of life and death, or if it's someone imitating the previous one that it happened time ago. We don't even know what is the year, if I do recall properly. Sorry, the brain cell is trying to do the brain cell thing. And yeah, the biggest problem is that we don't even know if in case we do win, we do exit alive. But what I do think is that it's some sort of revenge plan. And yeah, we do have to admit what we did. Something of the sort, I don't know. And I barely trust anyone so far. It is very confusing because we do have one of the girls being wary and cautious, not willing to state much, and she seems to know a bit about the person that is in the other room that we have to get information about. If that is the person, because we got the information from Oliver, from the question team, and we're adopting him as well. But in case it's that girl that we have to get information about from the question team, we don't know them as well, and we're hiding something about that, because we do have something dark in our past that was linked to her, perhaps cheating on our girlfriend or something of the sort, so we were not willing to state anything about it. Not even just because we do not trust much the two girls from our team, but because we don't want to ruin our image coming to our ex-girlfriend. Like, that's absurd. You're literally at the stake of life and you're thinking about your image. Like, I don't know. We're always worried coming to the orders while hiding stuff, but we still... It's a cool thing that we did acknowledge it within the game. We did say that we know we did not state much, so we're not in a position to criticize much there. So yeah, everything is sussy so far. We got through one stage of question guy coming there, stating some facts to us. We did leave them a little, like, not riddle, but a little task to perform to understand if they are stating the truth. Basically, the girl that was hiding stuff, one of our team, Valerie, did ask him to say hi to the girl there, and to say that Valerie says hi. And from what Valerie said to us later, is that the girl shouldn't react in any way, literally, because she shouldn't remember her name, basically. So the guy has just returned it, and we have to see what he has to say to us. While the other girl from our team is like very kind, she was considerate, also kind, she did cook for us a bit, but she is like a bit sussy. Like, she does considerate the different situations, even in case something may be more obvious than the other. She still does keep in mind the other solutions, which is cool of her. But both of the girls seem quite off to me, as well as that Oliver guy, so I don't know if we should trust someone or not at all. Yeah. Also, I think is that there is augmented reality, so this kitchen is not this cool to see. It is horrible, and Oliver does not have his brain microchipped. For the augmented reality, he did not have the COVID shot, he is not microchipped, so he does not see what we see over here. And we were also wondering, maybe there is some sort of exit hidden in the place that we cannot see because we cannot see the original state of the space there. I love how elaborated the details here are. Yeah. So, we enter the kitchen. Once more, Oliver's eyes hover over the room. Huh? This one doesn't even look half bad. Run out of steam or something? Valerie glares at me again. How is this? I mean, this is my fault, I guess. But you just... So this is Oliver, this is Valerie, the girl that is worried about sharing too much information, even if it's little information that she does hold to herself. And this is the girl that is kind and also cautious and evaluating well the situations. These two are in our team, and this guy is from the question team, okay? How is this? I mean, this is my fault, I guess, but you just... Well, just to make sure, are there any hidden exits or anything that here? I realize how stupid of a question that is halfway through asking it. Oh, now that you mention it, yeah, right here. He points at the plants adorning the wooden structure in the wall. Wait, really? He looks at me as if he's starting to seriously worry about the size of my brain. Oh, that was... I see. Oh, that's scary. Air living spaces to trick you into thinking you're not prisoners. No, we do know about that. We do know. We just cannot see the original state of the place. We didn't understand that we're in something extra dangerous. And we're also checking if it may be augmented reality or not. Like, if it was there or not, for example, the plant, and we came to understand it was augmented reality, and Oliver's comments just did confirm the all when he said, oh, what a horrible place you're in. Come on, guys, if there was some sort of exit in this place, I'd have told you by now, wouldn't I? Or even if I didn't, I would have at least used it myself. While lying bare, the flaws in my logic, he wandered towards the fridge, now swinging it open to take a good look at what's inside. This looks great. You cooked this, Evelyn? Ah, yes, thank you very much. Do you want me to prepare a serving for you? So, Evelyn, the girl here, did offer him to eat. Perhaps to, like, loosen up a bit, to not be so tense, to not be nervous, I don't know, so that we can later proceed with discussing what we have to. I suggested to a music friend some time ago that I thought that AR would be part of music videos. Instead of actual music videos, you would walk around with vocal classes and see the world be manipulated around you to the beat of the music. Whoa, that's interesting. Pretty interesting indeed. Bah, I'm an adult, I know how to use a microwave. Just sit down, the bunch of you, I'll be right there. Feels like barely any time has passed since we last sat here. Another breather. Though this time, it feels like the calm before the storm. The last break before we find out what Oliver has to say. And through that, whether Valerie is going to share what she knows. And hey, even if I don't reveal anything myself, I can at least help when it comes to putting the pieces together, right? That's the least I can do, is what I tell myself. I just don't want to bear the guilt of being selfish, huh? I don't want them to think of me as useless. That's all this is about. I don't really care about what happens to them, do I? Oliver places an empty glass in front of me. Huh? Oh. He's pouring us water one by one. At least I assume that was the intention. But how much he spilled? Might as well have helped. He might as well have wanted to water the table too. Didn't take him to be the clumsy type. Damn, you blind or something? Ah, shit, I guess my eyes really aren't what they used to be. I'll get something to... You just sit, I'll take care of it. For some reason, I think that was on purpose. He opens a drawer, taking out a rag to wipe the table with, swiftly soaking up the water, while we hold up our glasses. Evelyn sighs, the microwave beeps. Just in time. He takes out his warmed-up meal and finally sits down as well, beginning to eat. Oh boy, this is just what I needed, good stuff. It seems he was right. This really did brighten his mood, huh? So, I'm not sure how much the food had to do with it. The air has grown much less tense. The strangers feel a lot less strange. So, wait. He swallows. I guess I should get this out of the way. He takes another bite, carefully considering how to praise what he's about to say. The thing is, and I know that this sounds like a total cop-out, but... Her memory is still gone mostly. So really, I can't answer your question unless you want me to guess? Nah, it's fine. Let's be real, I never had a good reason to stay quiet to begin with, so it's whatever. What she's actually trying to say is that was the correct answer. Huh? What do you mean? Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. We'll get into that. For now, just, eat up and tell us what else you found out. She seems unusually flustered. Still postponing it? Huh? To be fair, I don't really care right now. I'm equally curious to hear what Oliver has to bring to the table. You mentioned that her memory is mostly still going, right? Implying that... yeah, of course, I was still gonna talk about that, don't worry. So yeah, she did remember some things. Well, more accurately, someone. My heart stops for what feels like a year. All the blood in my body rushes straight to my head. I'm just waiting for Oliver to turn towards me and continue with... Adrian, is there anything you want to tell us? Dun dun dun! I shake my head. He didn't say that. He didn't even turn towards me. Instead, someone from the other answer team then? I ask before my mind even has had a chance to catch up. Why? Right, just like Valerie over here, someone on their side knew about Emily as well. Maybe because I feel like I already know who that person is. So she wasn't quite as secretive about how they know each other. Because while I tried not to think about it, I felt like it would only make sense for her to be here as well. Apparently, she's her girlfriend. Name's Sophie. This changes everything. And nothing. And everything. And nothing. And... I can't believe how worried I was about killing these glorified strangers by not cooperating with them. So what, does that make me a bad person? It's not like I'm the one who is killing them. Like I'm responsible for trapping them in here. No, much worse. If I did help them, and if my input helped us win, then I would actively kill the people on the opposing team. It's no different from a basic trolley problem. Doing nothing might kill 4 people, doing something might kill 4 other people instead. But one of those other people is Sophie. So no, it's not as simple as 4 equals to 4. It's 3 plus A equals to 3 plus S. Or to simplify it, A equals to S. But are A and S truly equal? That's the question I need to consider. Which of our lives has more value? Looking around, Oliver seems to be deep in thought, wondering how to proceed. Sophie has something else to share. Something that might actually be even more interesting than her knowing Emilia. She remembered what happened before she ended up here quite well, unlike the rest of us. Huh? But how can that be? Did Null make a mistake? You really believe that? You're sure she's not just making that up for some reason? But why would she do that? I don't know, to make us fuck up, maybe? Throwing some red herrings here and there to keep us from winning this? I get where you're coming from, but in all honesty, the more Nathan told us about her version of events, the clearer my memory became as well. Give me a second, Stillmans. I'm gonna try something different in the setup I'm having here. Be right back. Does my microphone sound better now? Technically, it should be, but who knows. Is that so? In that case, it might help us remember the same way. Not so sure about that, cause, well, it's worth a try, I suppose. He pauses for a moment, furrowing his brows before he starts his retelling of what Nathan told him about what Sophie had remembered. Straight from the source. She said it was the 20th of August, same as the last day I remembered. You already told me that much, so then... Well, and just like me, she made her way to the Neuralink Center in A3. Like I said, I planned to finally get my implant, but she went there for a completely different reason. She was on her way to meet up with Emilia's father, Professor Jacob Neiman. That's the place he worked at. Nathan confirmed it as much. Her father? But why? Did she go alone? Valerie looks confused in response to my question, which did admittedly come out of nowhere. Well, actually Nathan did mention that she vaguely remembered someone being with her, but the details have escaped her mind for now. I see. She couldn't yet remember why they planned to meet in the first place either, so I guess it's pretty likely that it's related to Amelia somehow, huh? It has to be. So her father really is Professor Neiman, I did not expect this to be related to him. Huh? You know the guy? Well, that might be an overstatement. She did blush. I have already mentioned it while you weren't here, but I work for Neuralink. I doubt there is anyone working in this field who has never heard of him before. I have never personally met him, however. Whenever I happened to be stationed at his center, he had stayed locked up in his laboratory all day. From what I've heard, that's been hardly uncommon for him these past few years. Yeah, we never managed to get hold of him. Ever since Amelia disappeared, he simply shut himself off from the outside world. So, from everything Amelia told me, it's not like he left his lab particularly often before the nature. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Alright, so what's next? Well, they sat down in the waiting room with a bunch of other folks. One of them on her team recognized him right away. Eric's his name. Doesn't seem to know anything about any of this either. I wonder, is he hiding something too, just like me? Apart from that, there were some other people in the room, but she wasn't able to recall any particulars about them. I guess those must have been the rest of us, huh? Guess so. So I have no idea why Al would have been there. Well, there is one more person she recognized, or, well, kind of. When she first woke up, she was strangely sure about having already seen the third member of her team as well. However, it turned out to be nothing more than a mix-up. Would have been a crazy coincidence if it wasn't too, because she was very sure about that person's name being Evelyn. Oh shit. Oh, I get it. Oh goodness, was that person's actual name by any chance Elizabeth? He nods. Guess we're right on the money then. We already assumed as much, discussing it over in the QT. You two are twins, eh? Ooh, she nods. I nod, to myself for no particular reason, that no really is a cruel bastard. Evelyn's situation isn't all that different from my own. We can't save ourselves without sacrificing someone close to us. Oh, so it's that kind of thing. Oh my goodness. Great, so what's next? We were there, now we're here. What happened? Wow, that's the part both of us remembered, right there clearly, though, in all honesty, it's not all that spectacular. The lights turned off, white smoke filled the waiting room, and we all started dropping to the floor, one after another. That's all, didn't even get to see any of those responsible for it. Not that it helped us. Not sure what I expected. I guess that's the simplest method for knocking out a group of people and without getting your hands dirty too. But, yeah, sorry, doesn't jog my memory. That. Yes, it's the same way for me, I'm sorry to admit. I wonder why she was able to recall so much. Well, I got my theory. There is one thing the two of them have in common. I wonder why I haven't told of this sooner. And you really remembered stuff after hearing her story, huh? Yes. Though it's still much more of a haze than it seems to be for that girl. I guess it's just simply catching up with me. Oh yeah, sure, cause we're so old, right? Come on, who are you kidding? No, sorry, I was really considering any of you. There was something else I forgot to mention. One chat that the girl and I share, which is why we probably remember more than y'all. Any idea what it could be? An awkward silence fills the room and everybody just waits for him to continue, but he doesn't. Instead, he looks around at our faces, waiting for someone to speak up, but nobody does, like in a seminar that nobody actually wanted to attend. He really wants someone to guess that badly, huh? Alright, I'll bite. Does she maybe not have a Neuralink either? Exactly. Wow, how did I guess? Well, keep in mind that I don't know whether that's the actual reason, but with the two of us being the only ones without one here, and clearly remembering at least some of the things that happened right before this, it's a fair assumption to make, isn't it? Yeah, I guess that checks out, especially since we already knew he clearly tampered with our implants, deleting our log and all. But is that really something you can just do, delete someone's memories via Neuralink? Well, not under normal circumstances at least. Not very reassuring. And under abnormal circumstances, let's just say it isn't impossible. But it isn't something that can be done without very specific pieces of equipment that only Neuralink Center should have access to. Precisely where this all started, huh? Seems to fit the bill if you ask me. Let's not forget what this place is, Aether. Not out of the question for something like that to still be around here, We might both be right about that, but then the matter of qualification arises. It's not like most people would know how to use this kind of technology, you see? Duh, I mean, wasn't a secret that Null knew more than your average Jew about this stuff? Or you wanna tell me that anyone could just went and deleted my log whenever they felt like it? No, of course not. Are you sure Null himself was actually responsible for that, though? He managed to infiltrate the center after all. Kidnapping a bunch of people, how can we be sure that he didn't hold some scientists at gunpoint, forcing them to do this stuff? Yes, that sounds like something a person like him could accomplish. Oliver gets up from his chair, picking up his long empty plate to put it away. Either that's all the relevant stuff I can share with you for now. At least, as far as I remember, can't just check my log, you know? Don't worry, that was plenty. Unusually kind of her. I'm glad neither of them has mentioned me. I'm not sure how I could have talked my way out of that one. Not that it can't still end up happening, but that's a problem for future me. I'll figure out a good excuse by then. You will die if you don't spill the beans, come on! After a short pause, through which nothing but the clattering of dishes remained to be heard, Valerie finally sighs and gets up as well. I guess it's my turn now, isn't it? Wanna head back to the living room? You sure? Really trust me enough now, despite not really fulfilling your request at all? Evelyn already told you, didn't she? That was the right answer. I didn't expect her to know who I am. You were spot on. I thought it was weird when she first said it, but now that I know for sure that Emily didn't show any reaction towards hearing my name, I guess it would be a stretch to say I can't relate. Okay, well, I guess we'll get into that. Then wanna head to the living room again? Sure, let's do that. And we do just that. Erin sits down and Valerie gathers her thoughts. With anticipation filling the air, she speaks up. Before I ever spoke to Amelia, I actually met her parents. Well, met is not really the right word, it's not like I really saw them or perceived them at least. Just like all the other people you meet on a daily basis, just walking down the street or sitting in a restaurant. You see them being there, but since you don't attach any particular meaning to them being there, you wouldn't remember who those people were or what they looked like. That's what it was like. Just that, despite not having interacted with them in any way, I clearly remember the fact that they were there in the parking lot in some small town outside the zones. That's because I know that my mother and I, were walking past their car just as they were getting in and it blew up. Oh, that's what it is about. She was involved in all that. It blew up. Stuff like that happens outside the zones. Not that it's nearly as common as some like to claim, but yeah. I guess stuff like that does happen. It clearly did. There have been a bunch of rumors and theories lying around. Some suspect it was an assassination attempt on her father or something. Goodness. But personally, I don't really give a shit. The only thing that I care about is the fact that I was hospitalized for months afterwards, staying so close to the explosion my body was a mess. I've been through more surgeries than I can count. Large portions of my body were replaced by artificial limbs. Must have been an expensive procedure, eh? Not like the corpse would bat an eye at stuff like that happening outside their precious zones. True, I guess I shouldn't complain. True is my father could never afforded it. Emily's father paid for the whole thing, clearly feeling responsible for what happened. Almost getting some kid killed. Who'd want that on the back of their mind? I'm glad it ended up so well. Medical science has come a long way, hasn't it? You can say that again. Would have never even noticed that she had any surgery to begin with, much less that any of her limbs were artificial. Well, yeah, it's nothing anyone would notice. Even I don't notice any difference between my real and fake parts. The way they move and feel is pretty much identical. Just wish I didn't have to get a Neuralink to use them. She says. I see. Well, I'm sure you couldn't care less about all this, it's whatever. Point is, I was spending a lot of time lying around. My father barely ever took the time out of his busy schedule to visit me. But someone else did. Emilia. Oh! Both her parents were heavily injured, especially her mother. She ended up in an even more severe condition than I did, and so Emilia came to visit her pretty regularly. And at some point, she started stopping by my room as well. I was barely 7 years old, just started going to school. She was already 12, practically an adult to me. An adult who actually listened to me, who I believed understood how I felt, at least somewhat. She was the only piece of hope I had, while I never knew whether I would survive another day, whether I even wanted to, with how much my body was being torn apart. Went all ship of Theseus on her. All the doctors always tried to calm me down, but I never trusted anything they said. They just repeated the same empty words of consolation, wanted to make me shut up. But when Emilia told me that everything would be okay, I believed her right away. That was more than my body. That's really all it took, damn, isn't it? But that's what I believe saved me. That's why I never forgot about her. Valerie is still managing to keep a straight face, but it definitely feels as though she could burst into tears at any moment. At least, that's how I see it. She stays quiet for a moment, regaining her composure. I'm terribly sorry to hear all that. I can only imagine how. Yeah, can we please skip that? Just go straight to what you want to ask. Of course, sorry. In all honesty, I don't quite understand why you expected that she wouldn't remember you. Maybe you didn't have quite as much of an impact on her life as she did on yours, but she still took the time to visit you during such a formative part of her youth. I would argue that it wouldn't have been strange for her to remember something like that at all. True, it wouldn't have been, and honestly, she might still remember if you asked her about what I just told you. That was never my point. My point was that she wouldn't recognize my name because she simply doesn't know that my name is Valerie. You never told her your name? But wait, wouldn't she have... But wait, wouldn't she have had to know it in order to find the room you were staying? Let's leave it at that. Whatever she might still remember about that time, she wouldn't have remembered it after being told about someone called Valerie. She says, well, as you can see, I was right about that much. Can't deny that. Nobody says anything for a while. Is that all? She really wants to pretend that this is the whole story. It just doesn't match up at all. I can just let her leave it at that, can I? So, alright, you're still here. Sometimes I forget that fact myself. Yeah, just to get this straight, that's the only period of time in which you met with Emilia? Obviously, I mean, if we kept seeing each other, she would have probably known my name, right? So yeah, she just kept visiting me whenever she came over to see her mother, until she didn't anymore because her mother was no longer there. Just goes to show how much I mean to her, huh? She picked her words very carefully there. I don't get the feeling that she's lying about anything in particular, but she's definitely still hiding some things. I know, because I know how the story ends. Emilia told me about it. Sophie did too. I know what happened to her mother, and she has to know too. And that's not the only thing she has to know. There is more that she's trying to keep secret for some reason. I wonder why. I need to keep digging. Don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming her for that. I'm not blaming anyone for anything. I don't think she's a bad person for not wanting to keep in touch with some random child in a hospital. I'm just saying that that's why I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't end up remembering me at all. I don't even have any way to know whether she ever wanted to come and see me in the first place, or whether her father just asked her to do so feeling guilty about what happened to me. Thinking it's the right thing to do, while not even having the courage to do so himself. So did her mother ever visit you, at least when she got discharged? Give me a second, some months. Grabbing them kiwis. I need my daily fruit. Here it is, the fox with kiwis. Extra short break from reading it is. Like, I cannot stop myself from stating how cool the writing here is done, how cool is the story projected overall, like how it's elaborated. I love it so much. Like, I usually can have so many problems with visual novels, like not being able to follow them fully with my brain, so at times tilting, not being able to focus fully. Mainly with this genre of games, mystery ones. And at the same time here, it's so easy. And it's also super interesting to read through. Like, it's not boring at all, it's not heavy to the mind. It doesn't have like too many details that wouldn't be necessary. It does not have heavy descriptions, like it does have plenty of them, but they do not result heavy. To me, they do result pretty cool and interesting to discover. Super cool game, really. I didn't expect it to be this great. Like, coming to the storytelling, I did not expect that much. I expected it to be good, but not this good. I love it when I'm able to keep with the pace of the storytelling, and when I'm curious coming to the plot. Like, I love the visual novels, of course, but it's not always that I get so curious and so invested in the story. They can be interesting, funny, and nice, but they do not so often keep me hooked like this. Like, so far, the main developer that does keep me hooked to their stories is ᴰᴏᴍᴍᴜ. Always. And there were some other individuals I got to experience during 2023 and 2022. And this one is truly cool as well. I'm so glad I came up on this game. Just a reminder that it's free to play on Steam, by the way. And also, given it does have part 1 in its title, I am quite concerned with it, because I do wonder if the game will leave us at some cliffhanger. Have to await the second part, I don't know. I hope it will get some conclusion to it. This part 1. This time I do be eating 2 kiwis, as yesterday I forgot the second. Doctor said to eat 2 per day to get my stomach better. And it does work, no joke. I think it does work even better than medicine, to me. To drink ginger and lemon tea brews, organic ones, not processed, and to eat kiwis 2 per day. Like, coming to gastritis, reflux, and those annoying things of the stomach. But also the digestion overall. We don't want a constipated fox here. We finally managed to get that appointment to solve the documents of Baba's shift. Because yesterday they did not want to take us in. They said, you need to get the appointment to get in. And okay, but when we tried to call, it was an infinite waiting till the part that the call was dropped automatically. Today I managed to get an appointment via application. So we're gonna go and get information on Tuesday morning. And once his poopy shift is taking off, it's an official bye-bye to my bed sleep. I swear to God. In all the years I lived through, I never had a steady sleep. Like, a continuous good sleep for more than a week. I never did. Even just having it here for a week is like a miracle to me. I always had many problems with that. And when I finally got a steady sleep for a week, I saw how much of an impact it does have on my days. And even on the mental health and how productive you are, because I used to think it was normal. For example, when you do get up sometimes, wake up, I mean, during the night, when you sleep and then you fall back asleep. But the doctor told me, no, it's not normal and it's not even okay to you. So I got some sleep medication. After that, I stopped waking up during night. And goodness, when I thought I was sleeping quite good enough and I couldn't understand why I was at nervous at times during the day, I saw why. I saw how much impact it does have also never waking up during night. And it's so cool being able to fix that, I swear. Nothing better than health. That is going well. Okay, be right back, taking away that plate. Since I finished the kiwi break. Be right back. Okay, the fox is back. I hope you can hear me properly, because basically I arranged something super saucy here. Like, I put something below the microphone so it's a bit on a level higher than before, so I don't have to shrimp anymore. Goodness, I had to shrimp all the time. Like, I did not realize just putting the putter a bit higher is not enough. I had to put higher the microphone as well. And now it does feel like a totally new life to me, because my back is no longer hurting. Yay! Okay. A saucy setup it is, but it does work. So, we're questioning the things about the girl there. So did her mother ever visit you, at least when she got discharged? She shoots me an annoyed glance, clearly not wanting to talk about it. But she can't hide any longer unless she wants to finally start lying for real. No, she didn't. She might have. But she never actually got discharged. Still dancing around it, so there is no room left for interpretation. Oh, you mean... Yes. I don't even need to finish my question. Everyone knows already. Downcast faces surround me, and I try my best to blend in, how envious I am of them, not having to act. Was this helpful? Did I manage to reveal something about Emilia? Despite meeting her parents first, they're the ones I recall the least of. It was only Emilia who just never managed to escape my mind. Meanwhile, she just went on with her life together with her father, who survived with scars all over his body. Didn't even bother to get them removed. A reminder of what happened to his wife or whatever. Bull fucking who. And I mean, it's not like I blame her. After what happened, she was probably busy with crying her eyes out for weeks or... whatever normal children do when they lose their mother. Wait, you mean... Yes, genius, my mother also died in that explosion. Oh my goodness! Right away, before the ambulance even arrived at the scene. Stood in between me and the car, probably shouted me from the worst. By forcing out those last words, I swear I can see glimpses of tears welling up in her eyes, though she swiftly wipes them away. Is this my fault? Well, happy now? Is that what you wanted to hear? I didn't know discussing our families was what we're here for. You're right, sorry. A slight feeling of guilt begins to fill my chest, rightfully so. Have I been overthinking this again? Is this the reason why she didn't mention what happened to Emilia's mother? She just didn't think it would be necessary to discuss this. Would have rather avoided digging up any more of her own painful memories. Might just be an asshole at this point. Maybe I've always been. No, she's still hiding more, I know she is. And it's not irrelevant, and she knows it isn't. She still pretends to never have met Emilia again after what happened at the hospital, but that can't be true. Her reaction to first hearing about her being here is proof of that. There is still something I don't understand though. Sounds like a you problem. I ignored her remark. If you never met her nor her father again, then how do you know about what happened to her mother? Or about her about her father and his scars, or... Oh... Why do you care so much? What is it you really want to hear, huh? Come on, just say it. What's your deal? I'm not sure what you want me to say. She jumps up from the sofa and lunges towards me. Water, calm down. Oh, I'm calm, alright? You're not, my lady. She stretches out her arm and grabs me by the neck, holding me in place with ease. What do you want from me? Stop bullshitting me. I just want you to tell me what you know, which is clearly more than you're letting on, isn't that right? You're one to talk. Still enough energy to be smug about this, huh? Her grip tightens. Fucking hell, that arm's mechanical, isn't it? This is no joke, I can't breathe. Please, Valerie, stop. There is no need for this. Don't worry, I'll woo once he talks. I'm still unsure how much she knows. She clearly figures something out, but I can't just lay it all bare just yet. Why are you hiding that you met Emilia after? It's getting harder to speak. I'm not, because I didn't. We never met again. Is she really speaking the truth? No. The real question is, why are you hiding that you knew Emilia? She knows? No, this is just a bluff. Or to be more specific, that you knew Sophie. Oh shit. What? How? That makes even less sense. Did she know Sophie as well? No. I see Oliver staying behind her. I can't think anymore, my consciousness fades. It's gone. I'm gone. That was not much helpful, though. I'm here, somewhere. A room, dimly lit, a face somewhere between no one and everyone, empty. It opens their mouth and shapes her tongue into sounds. Sorry, what? The tall and short woman standing or sitting at the other end of the room repeats the movement of her lips. But the sound still won't reach. Sorry, what? Again. The room becomes brighter and the formless faces surrounding me turn towards me. A classroom or lecture hall or both overnight, and students with ages fluctuating between 7 and 23. The man in front of me seems to still be waiting for some kind of answer to some kind of a question consisting of some kind of words. Sorry, what? He repeats again. Yes, I agree. Is what I settled with. Work it well enough and the room blurs into our living room I've never been to before. My parents resembling my parents sit at the other end of the table watching me. I pick up a large pen with my regular-sized hand. I pick up the regular-sized pen with my tiny hands and begin looking at the printouts in front of me, filled with shapes attempting to look like letters, pretending to form words, or numbers, making up formulas or both, and I write nothing as fast as I can, until I'm done and look at my mother crying and my father leaving the room and my mother suddenly screaming at me. Concentrate. Why can't you just focus and work and function like a normal being, you? I look back at the empty pages in front of me, with the regular-sized pen in my regular-sized hand. They're empty and remain empty, and I don't even remember what I was supposed to write. And I look up at the wall in front of my desk. I've been sitting here for 2 weeks and still haven't written a single letter. Who the hell still writes letters anyway? I step away from my computer and close the door behind me when leaving the house and walk down the street towards the station to take a train to Sophie's house. But there are no trains and I can't even find the station, and at some point I just stand in front of her house. Neat. The door swings open and Sophie is there and gives me a hug and says, Hi, I'm so glad you could make it. And I say, yes. So I walk to get further in and she hands me a guitar, and I walk up the stairs leading to the second floor and sit down on the chair, and the room becomes brighter and the formless faces surrounding me turn towards me. I sit in a bar or at a festival or both or nature, and guests with ages fluctuating between 23. For some reason they expect something to happen, and I remember how I sat at my desk for 2 weeks without coming up, with a single line to sing, because I'm a failure as a lyricist, almost as much as I'm a failure as a musician, almost as much as I'm a failure as a student, almost as much as I'm a failure as a son. Not being able to bear the silence any longer, my hands begin to move towards random strings, forming chords I never knew I knew and begin to play, and I sing. My voice echoes through the room with a grace befitting of someone that is not me, and I feel pain welling up inside my chest because I realize that a hand grabs me from behind that pulls me behind the curtains and looks straight at me, not the hand. The person that hand belongs to. The prettiest person Sophie has ever seen. That she will ever see. She opens her mouth and shapes her tongue into sounds. Sorry, what? She repeats. Sorry, what? Again. Yes, I agree, is what I settle with. Work it well enough and she pushes me down onto the sofa and her smooth angelic skin. Mixed with my rough, disgusting body, and she sits down on me, and I am glad to finally be of use to someone, because I can talk and I can write, and I can listen and I can sing and I can focus and I can be interesting or play the guitar or talk, but I can exist and be a body, and that's all I ever wanted. And I lay here and look over at the guitar that's still standing in the corner of the room, mocking me for giving up so easily and reminding me that this sofa is the floor and that this is a living room and that I'm... Whoa. Awake. With my eyes wide open, I keep staring at the wooden instrument in front of me. There is no sound, complete and utter silence fills the room. How much time has passed, I wonder? My chest is filled with a variety of emotions, heavy yet hard to properly grasp in their entirety. Even now that my lock has been cleansed, my dreams keep digging up, all those memories ingrained deep within me. I remain like this for minutes. I don't feel like getting up ever again. It's all over anyway, isn't it? She knows, and soon they all will, maybe they already do. After lying around for a little while longer, I hear a slight creak coming from the sofa. I slowly sit myself and turn towards the source of the sound, finding exactly who I expected to find. Oh, good morning, Princess. Slept well? I must have really kept the poor guy waiting for a while. Yeah, it sure was a nice nap. I think I needed that. Glad to hear it. So you should maybe check your log. There's been some more stuff going on after you lost consciousness. Don't really need to repeat that for you, right? Oh, right, give me a second. Right, then what do we have here? Wait, they do keep mentioning the log, but... Oh? Wait. Wait. What is this? Let go of him right this instant. Oh, fuck, Adrian, you alright? He appears to have lost consciousness. He shouldn't stay this way for long. It could have gotten dangerous had you not stepped in, however, I'm glad you did. Goddamn, what the hell were you thinking, Valerie? Nothing really. What do you mean, nothing? Were you trying to kill the guy or something? Those artificial arms are no laughing matter, no, I wouldn't have, I would have let him down eventually. Eventually, yeah? How much more unconscious did you want him to be before that, huh? I mean, You're insane. How do you even figure he's hiding anything in the first place? There's been a bunch of little things he said that seemed strange to me. Not really one thing in particular. Go on. For example, when he heard that Sophie went to Neuralink Center to meet with Emilia's father, the first thing he asked was whether she went alone. Why would he ask something like that? Probably because he thought that he might have been the one to tag along. That explains why, out of all of us, he was the one to guess that Sophie didn't have a Neuralink. Sure, might have been a lucky guess, right? But when someone barely says anything the entire time, but every single thing that he does say is absolutely spot on, it makes you wonder. She got a point. Everything, huh? So was he right about you having seen Emilia again after being discharged then? Seems like Adrian wasn't alone in keeping some stuff hidden. Hypocrite much, huh? I wasn't. Come on now. There's no need to interrogate her like that. I'm sure she had her reasons. Yeah? Like for almost killing Adrian? I didn't. This is a difficult situation for all of us. I don't condemn her for overacting. Damn, no need to coddle her like that. She's an adult. She can be held responsible for her own actions, you know? Of course, that doesn't mean it will help us going forward, so Valerie, don't you want to tell us calmly whether there is anything else you know about Emilia? You said earlier that if you had kept in touch with her, it would have only been natural for her to know your name, right? I agree. Then why didn't she? It isn't as simple as Oliver is making it out to be, is it? So now I'm the bad guy, huh? It's alright, Oliver, you're right. I've still been hiding things as well. Well, obviously, out with it then. Just shut up for a second, alright? Evelyn, can we talk in private? Still don't trust me after all, huh? Chill, this isn't about you. I just want to discuss some stuff before sharing it all with Adrian. Okay, so what does that have to do with me? His Neuralink is picking all this up, dipshit. You can stick with him while we leave to talk, alright? Oh, is that so? He can check all this later? Damn. His condition is stable enough to leave him alone with this dude, right? Of course, he should wake up eventually without any further care being necessary. Alright, I'll look after him. Thank you. If anything happens, feel free to call me. Sure thing. Let's go then. Women, am I right? Yeah. So you can really read through everything we just said, huh? Damn. Never thought I'd have to consider my words in a room with no one except some unconscious kid, but here I am. Well, just so you know, as much as Evelyn believes that Valerie surely had some kind of reason to hide some of the things she knew, I'm sure you have your reasons too. So I don't judge you for not sharing whatever your connection to Emilia is or Sophie, but please consider talking to us. How, just the two girls if you'd prefer that, just don't try to solve this by yourself, alright? If you do that, I promise to not let anything happen to you. Any of you. We'll get out of here alive together. Goodness, he's so caring. Heh, damn. What a promise to make. Still, I believe we can make that happen. That's all. I'm done. Get conscious soon. So I guess you already are, once you get to read this. Okay, I'll shut up now. Whoa, so this was about checking the log. Goodness. That's so cool as a feature. Very interesting. I see. I guess if I play my cards right, I could still convince them that I only knew Sophie, that I heard about Emilia, but only through her. Oh, wait. I cannot go to read through that. And more importantly, I would have been fucked either way if it didn't come up now. After all, Nathan must have told Sophie that I'm here now, or at least some guy named Adrian, or whatever. And Sophie definitely told everyone on her team that she knew me. Just like she happily told everyone about her relationship with Emilia. I mean, why wouldn't she? She has nothing to hide. So really, this might be the best possible outcome. Done. Thanks for the message. Oh, that. No need to thank me. I just hope it cheered you up a bit, I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Not really. Crazy to think that that thing even keeps track of stuff when you're unconscious, huh? So, mind if I ask something? Sure. I was just wondering, how do you feel about your log being gone? I mean, never having had one and all. I can't really imagine what it's like, right? Is it more like losing access to a chat log or like losing part of your memory? What would you say? Wait to. Let me check. Do we have anything from before? Okay, no, it doesn't seem to be anything useful. It's something I tried not to waste too much time thinking about. Honestly, it still doesn't feel real. I still want to believe that Null was so nice and kept a backup of it for us. Not that it matters if I don't even get out of here in the first place, but... I don't know, both maybe? Like, I could never have imagined living without all those conversations, without the ability to go back to any of them whenever I felt like it. I think it isn't really hitting me, because I haven't noticed anything missing just yet. Once I do, once there's something I want to recall but can't. That's what I've been afraid of all this time. Although, well, on the other hand, it would be an overstatement to say they ever truly felt like memories. I look up at Oliver, who's still sitting on the sofa much more comfortably than I am on the floor. Judging from the look in his eyes, he still wants to hear more, but I stay quiet. I mean, they're different of course, they're just plain text after all, right? Is that what you mean? I guess. I stand up from the floor, avoiding direct eye contact. I definitely said enough unnecessary embarrassing stuff for today. Whatever, it doesn't really matter to be honest. So should we head over to the others? Wait, really? You just woke up and wanna go straight back to the person that almost killed you? Aren't you upset about that at all? I didn't expect this kind of reaction from him. Is it really that strange for me to not care? No, not really. Maybe I'm upset she let go. Damn, I don't get kids these days. Same. Either way, they're probably still busy with discussing their little secrets over in the kitchen. So honestly, I think it's best if we just wait here for now anyway. Guess so. There goes the only way I had to swiftly end this conversation. Well then, why don't you tell me about something that doesn't really matter in the meantime? I get the feeling there's something weighing on your chest still. Oh, more than just one thing. No, it's just, it feels weird to talk about it. It's difficult to put into words how it feels. Well, it doesn't bother me. Don't worry so much. I don't have a log. I won't remember most of what you say after we get out of here anyway. Fair enough. Alright then. I'd uphill back down that easily. I sigh. Where to start? For a very long time I have considered the day I got a Neuralink my earliest memory. The first thing that I could still recall clearly. But that's a lie. I didn't remember it at all. Much less do I remember it now, despite the fact that I could probably still quote most of what was said back then. That's because those first entries in my log weren't memories. The words I still remember now, despite those entries being gone, aren't my memories of that day. They are the memories of me reading through my log, over and over. Whenever I wondered what the first thing that I could recall was, I went back and read through it. The furthest point I could go back to, and so I still remember being asked how I felt, whether I had a headache or felt nauseous at all. That I should tell my parents to bring me to the center straight away if I noticed anything. That I might get unusually tired since my brain still needed to adjust to the implant, and that I should focus on resting for the day. All those little things, but they're all I can still recall. I don't remember the room I woke up in that day, after the surgery. I don't remember the face of the doctor who talked to me at the time. Scary. I have even less of an idea whether any assistants were in the room, not saying anything. I don't remember the smells or sounds, temperature or textures. I don't remember how I felt that day. I yet think about it. It made me feel things. Just not the things I felt back then when it happened. So, what I think I'm trying to say is, sometimes I feel like my log never really helped me with remembering things. Or like the opposite, maybe would remember things much more vividly if I hadn't kept reading them, if I hadn't relied on it as much as I did, never having a reason to bother with remembering anything myself, with paying attention to my surroundings. After all, I always knew I could go back to read through the recordings anyway. Now my memories of remembering became their own memories, overshadowing the actual events themselves. How did I feel? What did I think? How did that reflect on my face? What kind of impression did I leave? I keep wondering about those things, months and years later. Sorry, I was rambling a bit much. Honestly, I'm not really sure what I was trying to say. Oh no, it's fine, come on, I appreciate your sharing your thoughts like that, and honestly, I can understand where you're coming from, And yet you still plan to get your own Neuralink as soon as you get the chance to, don't you? Then you really kept entries from as far back as your childhood, huh? Crazy to think. Yeah, of course. I don't know, just felt like a tough choice to make. just deleting my own log for no good reason. What if I regret it at some point? What if I grow old and want to look back at what I've been through in my youth, only to find pages upon pages of deleted entries? I don't know, something like that. So I guess now that I'm here keeping them this entire time never meant a thing. A thing, huh? They're gone, all of them. So wait, you make it sound like you never deleted anything at all? Just once. Never. Damn. Did deleting those entries make me remember them more or less vividly? Did I keep my promise? What is that about? Taking a look at his timer, Oliver gets up from the sofa. Ah, damn, was a good talk and all, but looks like I gotta head back to my team soon. Wanna come see me off? So that's how much time has passed, huh? Despite that, Valerie and Evelyn still haven't returned. Do you not want to say goodbye to the others? They'll leave. Not like I have anything enough to say. Right, I don't either. I said more than enough. Alright, if you say so, then let's go. Toilet break it is, Cinnamons. Be right back. Awa! Awa! Toilet. The fox is officially back. Okay, let's proceed. Alright, if you say so, then let's go. Scary room. We leave the living room, stopping in front of the still locked exit. Oliver turns towards me. So then, are you ready to join back up with the girls once I'm gone? Telling them what you know and all that? Sure. What you know, huh? Glad to hear it. We're lying, right? And you? What will you tell your team once you get back? Good question. I've been wondering about this for a while. Is the QT really his team? Emilia is kind of a special case, and nothing is closer to his. Our opponent. I guess I'll keep quiet for now. Not that I know any of the details yet anyway. Huh. Yeah. The door slides open behind him and he spins around. Well, that's my cue. Good luck and try not to get strangled again. Yeah, thanks, I guess. And the door closes once more. This time, it's just me. I can just stand around and wait until someone else picks up or takes action. And yet I do just that, staying around awkwardly. Awkwardly? Can I even stand around awkwardly all by myself? Or does the feeling described as awkwardness necessitate the presence of another person, potentially judging the way I act? Maybe the hypothetical idea of an observer suffices, I don't know, but I feel awkward. As long as these walls surround me, as long as each and every word I say will go straight to null, I will never feel unseen. And so I begin to move towards the kitchen, keeping up a steady pace of around 2 steps per minute. Steps per minute. Oliver was right, wasn't he? The fact that I barely care about what happened with Valerie is strange, right? I didn't even think about it as relevant. I would have walked right back in there, as if nothing ever happened. But now that he brought it up, I can't do that. I arrive at the kitchen door, but instead of laying my hand on its handle, I simply turn around and start pacing back and forth across the room. A dozen thoughts fill my head. Most of them potential scenarios that could play out once I eventually enter the kitchen, how I should act, what I should say, what they might say in turn. The small fraction of my brain that isn't occupied by these unnecessary, irrational concerns continues to worry about the bigger picture instead. How should I proceed from now on? How should I explain the fact that I didn't mention knowing Sophie? That I didn't mention that she told me about Emilia? That's what my story is going to be after all. I need to find a proper excuse for why I might have reasonably wanted to keep what I know under wraps. One that they might actually end up buying, one that might sound irrational, that might make me look like the absolute asshole that I am. But that's fine. As long as they believe me when I tell them that that's all. That this is the entire truth and that I have nothing else to hide, it's gonna be just fine. Nope. Nope, it's not. I go back through my log, check everything I have said up to this point over and over again to make sure that nothing I have said could contradict my explanation. That everything fits nicely into a plausible narrative with consistent motives for my actions. I got this. I stand in front of the door and slap myself in the face a couple of times. I'm ready, I can do this. I take a deep breath, knock, and after mere seconds, the door swings open. Evelyn standing right next to it. Ah, Adrian. I'm glad to see you're alright. I glance past her towards Valerie sitting in the back of the room, not even looking at me. Makes me feel like I'd be better off not looking at her either. Yeah, me too. Me too? What does that even mean? I'm also glad to see me, alright? Who'd say that? I'm also glad to see the two of you, alright? Well, sure, but why wouldn't they be? And is Valerie even alright, like emotionally, was she ever? God, 10 seconds in and I already fucked up. With cautious steps, I entered the kitchen sideways, in a way that allows Evelyn to shut the door, while also keeping me as close to the wall as possible. Before she does so, however, she takes a peek inside the living room. Oh, has Oliver already left? Yeah. Could have at least said something. I turn towards her, finding her eyes still fixated on the wall. Her words feel just as sharp as before, but her expression makes the shift in her demeanor more than obvious. Is this the result of their conversation, or does she feel sorry for Ilya? Either way, I doubt she'd want to admit it. Well, it is true that we want to discuss matters in private. He must not have seen any reasons to disturb us. I also told him that he wasn't the one that I was worried about. Whatever, doesn't matter. Just wanted to make sure he keeps his mouth shut about what we told him, at least for now. Should I reply? Would she even want to hear what I have to say? Would it help or make things worse? Finally, eye contact. Fuck, eye contact. He said he'd keep quiet. He did, huh? Oh well, guess I couldn't have done much then. Now it's up to whether he's a man of his word. You still don't trust him? No clue. Do I? I wonder. Evelyn sighs, pulling back a chair. Anyway, why don't you take a seat for now? She sits down next to Valerie. I'm fine. Lean against the wall. I don't know why I decided to decline her offer, but it's too late to just change my mind now. Alright, I see. Just get to it already. What do you know? Why didn't you tell us you knew about Emilia? Well, I knew about her. Judging by those words, they really conclude that I probably didn't know her personality. This might be easier than expected. Alright, now just don't stumble over your own explanation, alright? Yeah, sorry. I know this doesn't mean much, but it's not like I had planned to keep it to myself from the beginning. No. When Oliver first told us about her being here, described what she looked like, how she had disappeared, I couldn't believe it. I tried to convince myself that it was some kind of coincidence. Had this been all, I would have still come forward about it as soon as I had calmed down and told everything true. But then you beat me to it. Told us you knew Emilia as well. So what? Oh, I could maybe have tried to believe that my being here was a coincidence. But multiple people in our group alone knowing who Emilia was, no must have planned for us in particular to be here, of course. And if that was the case, I assumed more people connected to her had to show up in the opposing team. And who's a more likely candidate for that than her own girlfriend? So you really do know Sophie, huh? Yeah, you were right. I guess it would have come out sooner or later anyway, but I don't know. You two are friends? I mean, I don't know, are we? What would she reply? Something like that. We went to the same school and talked a bit during our last year, didn't really keep in touch afterwards until... At some point she stopped by my uni, ran into me by chance and asked whether I had seen Emilia. I hadn't. That was shortly after she went missing. So you went to the same university as Emilia then? Right. But I guess a certain someone already knew that much. Looking over at Valerie, she simply sighs. Anyway, since that day we have occasionally met up to grab a drink and stuff. She talked about Emilia a lot. Especially when she was drunk. I see, so that's how it is. I think I understand how the three of you are connected now. Then, is it fair to assume that you accompanied her when she visited the Neuralink Center? I guess so, now that I remember. I still don't have a clue how any of that came to be. But it's the only thing that makes sense. Evelyn nods, slowly connecting the dots in her head, except for one. I apologize, but I fear this still doesn't answer the original question. Why did you keep this hidden up until now? I can figure out what kind of reason you might have had for doing so. Why, huh? I got this. I thought it's true, and yet why? In truth, there seem to be two distinct reasons, one more absurd than the other, but I don't need to know that. One, I will keep to myself. The other, I didn't want. I have no idea how to phrase it without making it sound like I'm the worst, most self-centered person ever. Maybe I am. I didn't want Sophie to die. Neither of them says anything in response. I had a feeling from the very start that only the winning team will be allowed to leave this place alive. Am I a good liar? Back then I was only motivated by my fear of Sophie ever finding out, afraid of anything I share about my relationships with Emilia reaching her. But they don't need to know that. Nobody ever will. It only makes sense, right? Someone who was ready to lock us up against our will wouldn't hesitate when it came to murder, would he? Of course I want to live, of course I want to survive. Like the mentally stable person that I am, I would have something to say about that. But if that means making the opposing team lose, or try killing them, then I'm not sure if I can just submit to that. So what you're saying is you would have been okay with being responsible for her death, is that right? I can't deny that. This should have been the part where she snaps, jumping up while hurling insults and accusations at me. Instead, she simply turns away. I mean, if anything, I'd of course prefer if all of us could make it out of here, but if I have to choose between protecting a couple of people I just met and someone I've known for years, then isn't it a natural thing to pick those that are important to you? Neither of them looks entirely convincing too. They don't have any rebuttals later. Still, how can I... And this isn't just about me either. It absolutely is. Evelyn, don't you have similar feelings? Isn't your sister on the other team? That is true, I have tried not to think about that fact. I'm not saying you need to come to the same conclusion that I have, but can't you at least understand how I feel? I'm sorry, but I cannot. I did not expect this response. Is it really just me? No matter how much I love her, that doesn't mean I should sacrifice my own life for her sake. There's no point in living like that. No, we should both work towards making it out of here, to the best of our ability. I really love Evelyn's personality, to be honest. She's always so reasonable. Whoever manages to win will have to live her life, for the both of us. That's certainly a much more optimistic way to view this dilemma. Isn't it the same for you? Do you really think that Sophie would want you to die for her? I just don't think our lives have equal value. I can live life for the both of us. I get what you mean, but it's not like I'd be the only one to suffer from losing Sophie. Emilia also remembered Sophie after all, but still be the only one she remembered. Clearly, she's the most important person in Emilia's life. Is it right to take that from her? I look over at Valerie, especially for you, who had some sort of connection to Emilia herself. What are you going to say once you make it out of here? I'm so glad to see you again. Sorry for killing your girlfriend in the process. Not like she wouldn't understand. Not like it's my fault we're here. Of course she's right. I couldn't care less if you think I sound selfish, but I just want to survive. That's not selfish. If that means the other team has to die, oh well, sucks to be them. Stop trying to make me feel responsible for any of this. You aren't selfish at all. It's absolutely natural to feel this way. If anything, I'm the most selfish out of all of us. But still, if she wants to get out of here so badly, then why did you lie to us? Why did you pretend you only knew Emilia from back at the hospital? She knew that I would ask this question eventually. It was only a matter of time. Taking a deep breath, she straightens her posture, as if to mentally prepare for what's ahead. Yeah, so this is what we've already discussed while you were out. She pauses, probably debating whether she should apologize or continue. She continues. I'll get to that and repeat what I already told Evelyn, at least the relevant stuff. Went on a couple of unnecessary tangents last time. Before that though, I was just wondering, how did you know? I already know what tipped her off, she told Oliver. It was recorded in my log. Guess it's only fair to tell her as well. I was right in the beginning, back when Oliver first told us about Emilia. You had quite the reaction to that reveal. You're absolutely sure about who that Emilia was. What did he tell us too? Sure, her name, and that a guy in a lab coat was working for one of your patients. I guess you could deduce that he was working for Neuralink just like Emilia's father. But that's all you should have known, and that's far from enough to be as sure about knowing her as you were, tracked the way you did. So what else did Oliver tell us? For one, that she disappeared roughly 3 years ago. I guess I don't really need to explain why you couldn't have known that. What remains would have been the description of her appearance. Green eyes and long, wavy blonde hair. But that... I see. Yeah, I didn't think about that at all. You're right. If I only ever talked to her in the hospital, there would have been no way for me to connect that description to her. She nods. Meanwhile, Evelyn looks back and forth between the two of us, understandably confused. Oh yeah, Evelyn, I guess I should explain what I meant. About her appearance and all that. It's simple, the description totally fits all the photos I've seen of her, but I know from Sophie that blonde wasn't actually her natural hair color, and that she only ever started dyeing her hair after graduating from school, shortly before her first encounter with Sophie. She never saw her the way I did. Yeah, back when she came to visit me, she still had brown hair. Ah, I see. The two of you really pay attention to the smallest of details. I can't deny that, only possible thanks to my log. All that overanalyzing might have been good for something after all. If only it would help us figuring out the truth. To be fair, all of this did manage to bring us much closer towards working together than I could have ever see coming. And with that arguably closer to the truth, is that a good thing? The more I think about it, the less I hate the idea of it. Well, with that out of the way, Valerie, would you like to tell Adrian about some of the things you shared with me earlier? Sure, that was the plan after all. She takes a moment to arrange her thoughts before diving straight into the second half of her extensive backstory. So, when I said we never met again, that wasn't actually a lie. We've only ever seen each other in that hospital. Years went by, life was shit, I went through some stuff. I didn't want to talk about any of that again, it doesn't really matter either. Evelyn nods as if to confirm that the details aren't relevant at the moment. I'd prefer to be the judge of that myself, but I guess I shouldn't insist, for now. I could never manage to fully forget her, however. How could I have? The very first entries in my log were filled with our conversations. I've always had that urge to talk to her again, and at some point I just called the place her father was working at. That was the only idea I had. And yeah, I managed to get a hold of him. Told him that I felt the need to thank him and all for saving my life. Made some stuff up about how great I've been since. He was happy to hear from me, at least he said he was. I didn't really care either way. All I wanted was to ask for Emilia's link ID. Gave it to me right away without even asking. Emilia would surely be happy to hear from me as well, he said. And after a bit more of acting like I was interested in his life, we hung up. That was the only time I ever spoke to him. If I had properly functioning brain, I would have messaged her right away, all like, "Hi, I'm that kid from back then, wanna chat?" But I didn't. Instead, I looked up her profile and read through her post history. Yikes. Well, to be fair, sorry, how old were you at the time? Right, thanks for asking, like 14? Yeah, keep that in mind and ignore all the creepy and cringe stuff, okay? Okay, I wasn't just doing it to stalk her. Well, maybe I was. But really, I wanted to get in contact with her in a natural manner. Unnatural for me, but natural for her. I was trying to find out what kind of things she was into, what kind of communities she was part of, and then one day, joined one of them. Was a total boost. I ended up in some weird place full of nerds who were really into mystery stuff. I didn't really know what to say. I never really cared about anything like that, so I mostly just looked around. It did help me with learning more about what Emilia was doing there, however. What kind of mystery she liked and all that. But she did also talk about movies, books, and games. What stood out to me was that she kept discussing a certain urban legend. I'm sure you can guess what I'm talking about. I nod. I read about it a bunch, tried to craft my own theories surrounding it, and then rejoined it with a new account. My username was null. Wow, edgy match, well, 14, what did I expect? Funny to imagine how things would have gone if she told us that her username was null right at the very start. Could have backfired hard, so I guess it was a good idea to keep it hidden for that long. It's interesting too, Emilia got her into all of this in the first place. It's almost starting to feel like all of these things are connected after all. Emilia being here in a game that is based entirely on an urban legend that she was deeply interested in years ago. That can't be a coincidence, can it? But what kind of reason could she have had to look into it so much? Maybe... Hey, are you listening? Yeah, okay. Not sure whether she believes me, but she at least acts as if she does. But did something get added in the log? Wait. Wait. Emilia pinged me right away, and we sent messages back and forth discussing our theories on what happened back in 71. Well, I already knew hers, but I could at least act interested. Eventually, when there was nothing left to say about the true game, she DM'd me. I pretty much ignored the existence of that community from then, and we just became friends. We talked about whatever came to mind, ordinary things we never told anyone in real life. She told me that she wanted to dye her hair. I told her that I wanted to get pierced. She told me about how much she hated her father for never having been home. I told her how I wished mine wasn't home as much. She told me about some guy she met. Hey, are you listening? Oh my. So when we get absent, there are more dialogues popping up. Whoa. Years went by, and we kept exchanging messages. I learned so much about her, and she so much about me. No matter how much time passed, however, I never once told her anything about who I am. And the longer I waited, the less likely I was to ever change that, the less possible it became. I couldn't just tell her I was the child from the hospital, that I stalked her and lied to her in order to become her friend, and so I remained as an empty variable. No, more than one. I never told her my name, my age, my gender, or where I'm from. She knew so much about what I thought and felt, yet so little about who I was. I often wondered how she saw me, what kind of image she had in her mind when thinking about me, what kind of voice she heard when reading my messages, if any. If she ever met me, would that image be shattered? Fuck, I can't believe it. Is that why you kept this a secret? Yeah. All the stuff I said about not wanting to reveal too much about Emilia was complete bullshit. I didn't care about protecting her privacy, all I cared about was myself. All this time. The only thing I was worried about was Emilia learning anything about who I was, what I looked like, sounded like, acted like. I wanted to go back to the way things have always been. I wanted to remain nothing, everything, whatever she imagined me to be. That's who I wanted to keep alive the most. I see. As though I can muster the courage to say. Evelyn slowly passed her back. To my surprise, Valerie doesn't complain at all, just remaining silent. What made you change your mind? That's what I would have liked to ask, but honestly, I already know the answer, don't I? It's less what and more who. With every passing hour, we reveal more and more of our past, and Evelyn is definitely doing a great job at convincing us too. Well, get along, work together and all that. What is it that I need to hear to come clean as well, fully and not just act as a... I miss that phrase. Somewhere deep down, I already know the answer. I just can't quite reach it yet. But wait. I'm just glad that in the end you decided to open up. So when I do think also... They keep talking. Okay. Valerie gets up from her chair, taking a couple of steps towards the wall of permeable plants. Not that I got all that out of the way, I still wonder whether it brings us any closer to solving this wall thing. Does it? Well, can I ask something? Do whatever you want. What about the time before her disappearance? Did she say anything that stood out, or did she just stop messaging you without any prior indications? She turns towards me, leaning against the wall, with plants glitching through her every now and then. I wish I could just quote our chat, but I still remember it, roughly, our last convo. Yeah, even before that, she hadn't been as active as she used to be for a while. Figured she was just busy with her girl at that point. Didn't have much need for me anymore. Whatever. So then the last time she messaged me, it came as a bit of a surprise when she started to apologize for just that. Said stuff about how she was just really busy and kinda overwhelmed with life at the moment. That should explain it all. Once it settled down, I told her that it was fine, of course it was. I wasn't mad or anything in the first place. She was extremely grateful, promising to take the time to catch up, that she was just gonna take a break. It all seemed weirdly out of character for her, but I didn't question it any further. I was just happy to hear she seemingly cared about me that much, didn't really understand why. In retrospect, I guess she must have already known that something would happen to her, or at least that it might. Whatever kept her so busy at the time, did it have something to do with all of this? Was it digging into some strange urban legend? Was it more than simple curiosity? And after that, did you still try to message her? There obviously a bunch of times, didn't ever get a reply. At first I didn't think much of it. She wanted to take a break after all. If anything, I felt like an idiot for bothering her to begin with. After months had gone by too, I started to get worried. I thought about calling her father again, but I couldn't. After all, I had never actually messaged her despite asking for her ID. If I asked about her again, I would have had to reveal that Null and I were the same person all along. That I had kept that fact a secret from her for years ago for no proper reason at all. Not that I could explain anyhow. Does that mean you never knew for sure whether she had actually gone missing? That's right. I often wondered whether something happened to her, or if her last words were just her twisted way of cutting me off with minimal guilt. I only got the confirmation today that she had gone missing around the time she stopped replying. In a way, I was glad to hear it. God, I'm disgusting. At least it's not just me. We could only remain like this for a while. Honestly, I forgot whatever else I wanted to ask, and maybe I should leave it at that anyways. She said enough for now. Even Amelia seems to have already known that she might disappear, at least for a while. Did she sense that she was in danger, or is there something else that I'm still missing? Another option? Anyway, I think that's all I got for now. She looks over at Evelyn. You wanna try the thing we discussed earlier? Yeah, of course. She promptly leaves the table, heading towards the living room. I'll return once I'm done, alright? Right. And with that, she's gone. What was that all about? I explained that once it matters if it does. Okay. For now, She pauses. Fuck. So, sorry. Huh? For choking you? Just like that, suddenly. Oh, right. Yeah. Evelyn told me to say that. Ah, okay. What the hell? You don't seem all that surprised. It's funny, really. You didn't need to say that, but... yeah. Ah, well, now I did. So, was that all? What, not good enough for you? No, I just meant... is that all you wanted? Oh, I guess. Okay, cool. And so we stand around, instead of sitting at the table next to us. I guess we already spent quite a lot of time sitting today, so it's alright. Normally, I would use this opportunity to contemplate what she's thinking about right now. What the true intentions behind her half-assed apology could have been. But there's not really any reason left to do so. After all, I feel like I already understand. And as if to prove that she understands me too, she continues. Did you really want to sacrifice yourself? I guess so. Are you sure? I think so. Doesn't sound all that sure to me. Does she know? Did she know this entire time? And if so, why hasn't she said anything before? You said you had assumed that Sophie might be on the other team from the very start. That's why you didn't even try to win, right? Pretty much, yeah. For someone who wasn't even trying, you were pretty nitpicky when it came to inconsistencies, you noticed. Yeah, I made fun of all of your theories, but it sure didn't seem like you weren't trying to figure out stuff. Anything that could help us with understanding our situation. Even after Oliver told us about Sophie actually being here, you never tried to sabotage us or stop us from making progress. You still tried to push me into revealing as much as possible. The only thing you ever did was try to divert our attention, have everyone focus on what I know and make sure that nobody was onto you. As long as it didn't have anything to do with you or what you knew about Amelia, it was all for a game. You never really wanted us to lose. All the talk about sacrificing yourself for Sophie was just an excuse, wasn't it? A way to make yourself feel like your actions aren't as selfish as they seem. You never actually wanted to die, and... I swallow. She leaves her wall behind, slowly stepping closer and closer towards me. I didn't really pay attention to how our lives were very contradictory to them. You're still hiding something, aren't you? I think you're reading too much into this. I just didn't want to be responsible for your deaths, to appear useless to you, to hate me, to raise suspicion. I'm speaking the truth, and yet You write as well. Valerie is standing right in front of me. Her gaze focused on my expression, trying to ascertain the veracity of my words. I know what my face looks like in this moment, but the dot is doing a particularly good job at masking what's behind. Then again, it probably doesn't matter all that much anyway. I'm convinced that she has pretty much figured me out at this point. Even if I never truly revealed how I feel, she has been reading my every action like an open book. Why am I still trying to hide anything from her? Stubbornness? Suddenly, too, she backs off. The door swings open as if to prevent further scrutiny. As Xavier briefly steps in, Valerie turns her head towards her. So? Your theory was correct. I found some rather interesting things that I would like the two of you to take a look at. Sure. Evelyn nods, then turns around. Valerie follows suit, not even sparing me another glance. I still don't have a clue what this is about at all, but I guess I'll find out soon. Did I really manage to figure something out? Only one way to find out. Entering the living room, I see them once again standing in front of the file cabinet we weren't able to open before. Have they found a way to do just that? Based on the fact that Valerie is once again pulling on one of the handles without anything happening, it wouldn't seem so, but Evelyn looks at me and begins to explain. Ah, right, you're still out of the loop, Adrian, is that so? I nod. When Valerie and I had our conversation in the kitchen, she proposed an idea as to why we might not have been able to open any of these drawers. After all, Oliver mentioned that Camilla had apparently managed to open the one in their respective living room, but only before Oliver and Nathan had returned to see for themselves. Oliver has suspected that she might have only imagined it, or something to that effect. Frankly, I thought that explanation was kinda shit. So instead, I thought about how the lock in this thing might work. And then I remembered what we said about that door earlier, the exit. That it probably just checks for the number of nearby Neuralink signals. Yeah, I thought this one might work the same way, might be locked, as long as there are too many people nearby. And she was right. As if to demonstrate, she once again pulls on one of the handles. Nothing happens. Wow. Just like before, it doesn't open. Meanwhile, as you waited in the kitchen, I was finally able to take a look at what's inside. She takes a step back and points to the table, on which a bunch of documents have been placed. I only took a brief look through its contents and took out anything that appeared at least somewhat relevant. For now, this seems like a decent enough starting point. Valerie picks up a piece of paper right away, starting to read without a moment of hesitation. I, on the other hand, simply stand in front of the table, letting my eyes hover over the text in front of me. Most of them are largely redacted, only bits and pieces remaining readable. I try to score them for some kind of hint, but I can barely process any of it. What they have in common is their age. They all appear to be from around the time when the original experiment has supposedly taken place, according to that story Valerie told us. 2071, 2070. Some are even older. They were probably kept here this entire time. Did Noel want us to find them, or did he not even know they were here in the first place? From what I can tell, they all seem to describe the details of that experiment. Not knowing much about parapsychology, I don't really get any of it. I can merely guess what some of the terms mean. Minimum delay, abstract transfer, connector, generative stimulation, neurological overdrive, barely having any sort of context doesn't help. Ah, you're still alive. Hey, hi. Hello, developer. How are you doing? We do be proceeding with the game indeed. It's super interesting, just yet quite curious coming to how it proceeds overall. I was also wondering, given the game's title does have like part 1 in it, if you will have like a cliffhanger ending, or if it will have a conclusion to its own, this part 1. I'm very, very curious to it. I'll let you manage to enter the chat. While I continue to stare at the table, Valerie has apparently already finished going over the document she first grabbed, promptly switching it for another one. In that moment I noticed a text that was mostly covered by the one she just picked up. One that seems to be readable for the most part. I grab it, hopefully this will make any sort of sense. The abstract transferred experiment is scheduled to start on 2071. The participants will gather at the Parapsychological Research Center of New Berlin before being transferred to the newly established underground test site. In addition to the scientists involved, representatives from the following members of the United Corporations of Europe will supervise the event on site: Neuralink, Nanolog, and Artarms. They will arrive at the test site one day prior to the experiment. Once the experiment commences, no one will be allowed to enter or leave the structure for the entire duration of the event. All forms of communication or data exchange will be prohibited as well. The great launch has been going very well. Oh, glad to hear so. I did read about that annoying bot. I hope it can be taken care of if reported enough. Although the exact duration is not set in stone, it is expected to last no longer than 2 weeks. The final list of supervisors has not been confirmed yet. However, the following 6 test subjects have agreed to participate. They are unaware of any further details beyond the general relation of the study to their current predicament. This matches with what Valerie told us earlier. Our current predicament, huh? Must be that Neil thing. Found anything? She puts down the document she was holding, a frustrated expression covering her face. Did she find anything? They were discussing something, weren't they? Anyway, I shouldn't keep her waiting and just showed her the document. Well, I don't know how helpful this is, but at least it's readable. Pretty much confirms what you told us about earlier, that this really is the test site from 71. Without another word, she snatches it from my hand and starts to read. I watch her eyes, moving swiftly across the page. Given the fact that the text doesn't cover much beyond what she had already told us, I don't expect to find much of a reaction within them. All of a sudden, however, they widened with surprise. What the actual... Oh, is there something I missed? What is it? Have you not said anything? Did you not see the names? The names? Alright, there was a list of names at the bottom of the page. The participants of the original experiment. Before I can reply with anything else, she shows it straight into my face. 6 names, 6 people I never heard of before, until I noticed a familiar last name. Not once, but twice. Niemann. Irene Niemann and Rina E. Niemann. Who are they? Oh my, Niemann. Evelyn, who has apparently snuck up behind me, is peeking over my shoulder to inspect the list of names herself. Part 1 has a conclusion when it comes to the story of Adrian, but doesn't yet resolve the bigger mysteries. Oh, I see. Do you have a rough estimate for when you want to be able to complete the second part, perhaps? So they were involved in what previously happened in this very facility? I never would have guessed. This can't be a simple coincidence, can it? No, definitely not. She lowers her hand and turns away. I don't know about Irene, but Rina, that was the name of her mother. Her mother? But if this experiment was conducted in 2071, that means she must have been a mere child at that point. Guess so, I think it would really fit. Maybe Irene was her mother then? So Emily's grandmother? That seems plausible. Yeah. If it wasn't clear before, it's more than clear now. None of this is a coincidence. The next round is about to begin. Please prepare to gather in the hall at your earliest convenience. Give me a second. So, is that why? Before I get the chance to discuss the common thread connecting all of these events, a familiar voice rings out, interrupting me mid-sentence. It's the same monotonous voice that we last heard when Valerie tried to exit the hall with Oliver, and with that we stand there dumbfounded. I know this might sound disappointing, but part 2 next year, and the final part in 2 years. No, not disappointing at all. I don't have any idea how much approximately it could take to create a visual novel, but I can only guess a lot. Oh, you found about the lock while I wasn't here. Yes. So I managed to spot some dialogues between them Both when I was, like, collapsed after the strangling part, and also when I was thinking. They did speak a bit among them. I'm not sure if there is more to it that I did not notice. And with that we stand there dumbfounded, except for Valerie, who makes her way towards the door without delay. What is it? You're not coming? I was just... is that announcement new? Is it something about to happen? Oh, the two of you haven't heard it before, huh? No, we have not. Are you implying you have? Yeah, the same one was playing right at the start when I had locked myself in the bathroom. Guess you can hear it from the hall. Makes sense, don't really have a reason to. Now that I think about it, it's true, whenever Mul appeared to give one of his speeches, we were already in the hall by chance. Makes sense that he wouldn't want us to miss out on them. So, you wanna stand around all day? Oh, no, of course not, let's return to the hall, I nod. One after the other, we head through the door. It feels strange how quickly we went from what's most likely been our biggest discovery yet, to quietly standing next to one another once more. I mean, sure, at this point we might as well wait a couple more minutes and tell Oliver about it too. But will we? Valerie looks like she's more than busy enough, just trying to pull all the pieces together in her head. Meanwhile, I'm still unsure about what the hell I even want in the first place. Do I want to solve this? To find the truth? And once I do, will I finally tell them everything I know? The usual rambling of the elevator returns. I wonder, how much could he still have left to tell us? Hadn't we been over all of the rules at this point? There he is standing in his little stage once more. As per usual, he's not granting anyone a single glance, simply beginning to speak in the most monotonous of voices, barely ever fitting the words it produces. Hello everyone, I hope you have been doing well these past 3 hours. Well, I said the same last time, but I hope you don't mind me repeating myself. I already know how well you've been doing. I'm glad to see that each team has, in their own way, managed to make some progress. You must still wonder what it is that you are even trying to find, but don't worry, you don't necessarily need to know that. All you do need to know is that you're getting closer. Well, hearing that might not mean awfully much to you. So instead, how about I give you a bit of a helping hand, I'm not a monster after all. You have already noticed the locked door in each of your halls, right? Not the exit, the other one. Of course you have. I'd be worried if you had not. How about granting you access to the room that lies beyond it? Oh. And just as he says those words, the scanner on said door turns green, finally. Why was it locked in the first place? Is whatever we find in there actually going to help us? If so, maybe he just wanted us to think for ourselves for a while, before starting to straight up hand out hints. Or to share some information among us and stop keeping it to ourselves or lying. If that is the case, this is actually going to be as significant as he made it seem, then this might be the turning point for this whole ordeal. I have to, once and for all, make up my mind. After all, I have no way of knowing what the other team is up to. Behind me, the elevator has already made its way back into the ground. Null is gone. Despite that, Valerie is still staring at the spot from which he had repeatedly addressed us. What's wrong? I wonder whether... Well, I wasn't really thinking much of it last time, since that was the first time I've seen him myself, but the way he had positioned himself there was the exact same, wasn't it? I mean, I guess so. Same for his first speech, the one I didn't get to see. Yeah, what exactly do you mean? Well, the way he was just rigidly standing there, staring straight at the wall that's separating us from the question team, never bothering to look at either of us. Ah, yeah, true. Perhaps the scripts for his speeches are being displayed on that wall. He might just be reading them out loud for us. What kind of idea is that? If that was all, he'd just read it from his Neuralink, wouldn't he? To be fair, we don't really know whether he has one himself, do we? Though I guess it's pretty likely he does. Just saying we shouldn't assume it as fact. Oh, aside from that, I agree too. Seems far-fetched. Like, why would he even need a script in the first place? Yeah, I don't think he ever had all that much to say. Don't really see the point in him closely following some pre-written text. I simply not. Honestly, the entire concept of him showing up for those speeches is kind of weird in and of itself. Then again, there might not be any deeper reason to it at all. I think it might just be a waste of time. In this case, however, it was also an effective way to kill some time. I was wondering about that, but you're the creator behind the game then. Yes, it is the developer indeed. May I ask how much I am far into the game, approximately? Before we know it, the large metal door slides open. And Oliver appears before us. Last time, his face wore a frustrated expression, given what we had heard from Noel moments before. This time he looked just as troubled, despite the unusually good news we had just received. You're right. Quite a long face. Oh, it's nothing, don't worry about it. Just had a bit of a quarrel over in the other hall. His face instantly lightens up, but he's clearly still bothered by whatever went down beyond the door. Is that so? That is quite troubling to hear. Well, it was to be expected. After all, Nathan turned out to be our enemy, in a way. Yeah, and now that he knows, it makes sense for them to no longer trust each other or work together. Yeah, that's right. He nods an agreement before backtracking ever so slightly. Well, too, I kinda got myself to blame for him no longer trusting me. What do you mean? Did you do anything that would warrant distrust? He says. When I came back, Nathan didn't actually mind that much. Of course, he was aware of what Noel told us, but he still thought it'd be the best, of course. It'd be the best course of action to combine our efforts. He said, well, something about how he didn't see any of us as enemies. The real enemy was Noel, he said. Roughly 2/3, I think. Ooh, okay. Thank you for letting me know. And I mean, he's right. Still didn't expect him to feel that way. Sounds like things were off to a good start, so then how'd you mess it up? Well, I said I didn't have much to share. That Yao didn't tell me much of importance. He figured I was probably just being careful and thought it would be a nice gesture if the two of them simply started with their reports. Maybe it'd break the ice. Nathan shared some things he heard over in the other team. Emilia brought up a couple of details she remembered. And then, when it was my turn, I kept quiet. Huh? Guess you're a man of your word at least, I guess so. Well, assuming he's speaking the truth. Guess we'll never know for sure what's really going on in the other halls. What you're saying, however, is that Nathan and Emilia have shared some additional details with you, have they not? Would you like to tell us about those? Alright, of course. He clears his throat. Emilia went first. She mentioned a couple of things she remembered about her family, what happened to her mother, how she's living at her father's. Pretty much lined up with what we already know. Nothing really stood out. He glanced over at Valerie. Didn't mention that, of course, don't worry. Yeah, go on. Then it was Nathan's turn. He told us that, surprise, Sophie recognized the name Adrian. That she brought up being friends with him, and that he was the one to come along to visit the Neuralink Center. Well, stuff like that. I guess you had to already figure it out as well. I nod reluctantly. Yes, that's part of what we discussed earlier. Perfect, cause I told them that I already knew that. I know. I said I'd keep quiet, but come on. They already figured it out anyway. Yeah, you're right, it's fine. I'd have done the same. In fact, that's pretty much exactly why I decided to finally reveal it in the first place. And it was to our advantage too. He agreed that it wasn't much of a sign of trust from his side, telling me something I'd have obviously already known. He didn't need to be aware that it wasn't quite as obvious, but how difficult it was to deal with a bunch of you. No offense, well, maybe a little bit. So does that mean he ended up telling you something else instead? Right, about something Sophie had noticed over in their hall. A strange drawing on one of the walls hidden behind that AR stuff. She hadn't noticed much of it, but when she drew it on a piece of paper to share it with Eric, apparently he knew what it was. Some cult symbol, the collection of Anamnesia or something, according to Nathan. What? A cult? Are you seriously telling me that something like that is behind all this? It might explain the craziness of this entire situation, but it just seems so absurd. What would some cult want from Emilia? And what does any of that have to do with us? It might just be a coincidence, no use in overthinking it, right? You didn't see anything like that, did you? Nope, nothing at all. Figures. Do you think that they are the ones behind all this? I honestly think it's still too early to judge, but Nathan said the other answer team was pretty convinced of it. I have no idea too. Never heard of these guys before. Didn't even know cults were still a thing. Well, before we discuss that any further, was it all done? Right. After that, Nathan asked me to share something from my team, but I refused. I'm not sure it was the smartest course of action, but it felt like the right thing to do, you know? Yeah, you did fine. Honestly, who knows whether that Nathan dude was actually being sincere. He was just sharing info to get you to spill. What even made the wall think about the cult symbol up on the spot after his first attempt at proving his trust failed. Sure, he's right, no is a real enemy. But that doesn't change the fact that gathering info for our teams is gonna decide about life and death. For as long as that's true, there is no way to actually trust a single word Nathan says. Earlier, I thought we should trust anything that we heard from the QT. That we didn't have a choice anyway, as long as we went to have any sort of chance at winning this thing. I'd argue that the situation has now changed, that we have sufficient reason to doubt Nathan's word. It might be better to think twice about whether we hear from him. Oliver stands still for a while, processing Valerie's argument. He nods. Yeah, guess you're right. So then, do you want me to continue keeping my mouth shut? I honestly think it doesn't really matter anymore. Who knows whether we'll even live long enough to see the next round. Come on, don't talk like that. You know it's true, we've barely managed to make any progress this entire time, but who knows how the other team has been doing. But then... well... but then wouldn't... okay. I'm not done talking, and yet she hesitates. It's not like she ever worried about Nathan getting some sort of hint out of her story. That was never why she kept quiet about it to begin with. I'm not saying that I'm giving up. Popping up to say hi, hope everything is going well. Hi Baba, hi, thank you kindly, very appreciated. Hope you're doing well and having a good coffee right now. Thank you for the head pat. Pet the fox. Many pets. Appreciated. I'm not saying that I'm giving up, I'm just saying that this game suddenly ending without any kind of warning is getting more and more realistic the longer we wait. And so this might be the last chance to tell her. I think whether we still get out of here or not, I want her to remember. No, I think I want her to know the whole truth. The truth? Or that carries a lot of weight in our situation, and so must Valerie's decision to finally reveal the secrets she's kept to herself all this time. Yeah, I told this too while you were gone. Yes, I don't have a choice but to go over it. Hey, I interrupted her mid-sentence. One of the scariest feats imaginable. At least from where I stand. Sure, but like, what about that door over there? We all turn around, our eyes fixed on the previously read scanner. Alright, that's what Noel was just talking about, huh? I mean, I didn't want to interrupt you or anything, but I just thought maybe we should see what's behind that first, then discuss anything else, you know? Yeah, it's fine, you're right. We still got time. I can hold off on repeating my backstory a third time, at least for a bit. If anything, she's probably relieved. Though she might also just be used to it at this point. I don't know, can't relate. That is true, we should probably see what that door has in store for us before deciding how to proceed. Yeah. We collectively move closer and closer towards the door, then stand still waiting for someone to make the first move. We've been waiting for this, yet now that we're finally about to open it, we feel hesitant. Or at least I do. I'm reluctant, nervous, anxious. I'm feeling things that I can't quite put into words. Would this door answer any of our lingering questions? Will it give us even more? Valerie takes another step forward, reaching out towards the scanner. Just press it then, alright? I nod before noticing that she can see me, staying behind her bag. Of course, whenever you're ready. Her hand meets with the green surface. Without further delay, the door slides open like the rest. Behind it hides... a room like any other we've seen so far. What the hell is this? One that does not seem to hide its true colors behind augmented reality. One that, despite that, seems the least real. Out of all of them, what the hell is all this? Yeah, sure looks scary. Is anyone in this? He leans over one of the metal coffins, glancing through the small window in it. Nope, just, water. Oh, there better not be. Would have been a scary thought to find anyone hiding in here. Despite that, he continues to check the remaining boxes, simply nodding his head. Evelyn, on the other hand, takes a closer look at the cables and tubes connected to them. I suppose I have an idea what these pods could be, although I've never seen this specific model myself. Pod? Model? Well, yes, it makes sense after all. From what we have deduced so far, this place seems to be rather old. With other words, this must be some of the first prototypes of the machine I have in mind. Yeah, sure, I got that, but like, what is it a model of? What are they? Well, I'm not quite sure yet, but this might be what I have told you about earlier. Earlier, you mean? When we talk about whether it will be possible to make someone's memories disappear via accessing their Neuralink data, I said it wasn't, not without specific equipment. So these are what you meant? They might be. As I said, I can't say for sure. It would make sense too. There are 3 of these pods here. The other teams probably have the same room, so it should add up nicely. 1 pod per person, of all being inside one of these. Well, what good would putting me in one of those do, eh? Clearly didn't get rid of any of my memories. I'm sure Null was aware that I don't have a Neuralink, wasn't he? Ah! In the meantime, Evelyn has started up the terminal next to the set of pods, investigating its interface and clicking her way through a couple of menus for a while. She nods. It is just like I suspected. This seems to be an early prototype of the connector, which can be used to establish a direct connection between brain and Neuralink. Wait, but I don't know much about all that, but aren't they always connected? What exactly do you all need that machine for? Yes, of course, but usually there is a certain minimum delay between accessing and receiving data. It can be bypassed using this machine. Well, the exact theory behind it is much more complicated, of course, so let's put it this way. By resting inside of one of these pods, data can be transmitted directly to the user's brain. Iteration break it was. Through this, they can, for example, review parts of their log in a fashion that is much more akin to remembering those events than simply reading through them. This process is called direct transfer, not that I think about it. Before I first woke up, at the start of all this, I think I was dreaming about Emilia. At least, I think it was a dream. Would have been... Inside my mind, something clicks. It was the same for me. Of course it wasn't a coincidence. It almost felt like some kind of premonition of what's to come. But in the end, it was just Snow priming our brains. Didn't any of you experience something like that? Well, I obviously didn't. Me neither, I'm sorry to say. I hesitantly shake my head. I don't think so, though it makes sense, right? Null wanted to make sure that you remembered Emilia before this even started, to make sure that things go smoothly, I guess. Yes, that would explain it. There must not have been any relevant data to show to us. Valerie looks in my general direction. Yeah, sure, I guess, and rolls her eyes. Anyway, the same thing has been used to make us forget about how we end up here, right? Most likely, yes. So wait, if this machine can be used to both make us remember and forget things, doesn't that imply that this same process could also be used to implant fake memories into our heads? Oh my goodness, if we've all been in one of these, how can we even know which of our memories are real and which are fake? Has our entire basis for what true is just been shattered? Can we ever even figure out who Emilia is? Did Valerie and I really know Emilia? Or were those memories we dreamed of just what Null wanted us to think of as our past? Does Emilia even exist? Have any of these things between us ever happened? You're right there? Huh? Suddenly I notice everyone looking at me with concerned expressions. You look somewhat pale. Are you not feeling well, perhaps? Oh, it's just... God, I'm so stupid. It's fine. Anyway, I do have one more question about all this. What is it? Could this machine also be used to implant fake memories into whoever is inside of one of those pods? Goodness, no, nothing like that. That's a relief. Within seconds, all my worries have been dispelled. At least not directly. And they're back. Wait, what? What about indirectly then? Evelyn sighs, realizing that she shouldn't have brought it up, and that she will now be stuck with the exposition dump duty for a little while longer. The two procedures, which I suspect to be relevant to her situation, are the neurological override and the direct transfer. Neurological override to remove memories, direct transfer to recall them. In both cases, however, the memories in question need to already be part of the user's log data. For the neurological override, a specific time frame is submitted for removal. Larger time frames can lead to complications with the subject's psyche, however, so it is usually limited to a couple of days at most. Wait, what the heck is something like that even used for in the first place? There are a selection of medical use cases mostly related to trauma management. I never thought about it much, but I guess it makes sense. Still seems like a questionable way to deal with that sort of thing, but not like I'm an expert. I see. The direct transfer used to have someone dive back in their previous log entries is used for similar purposes, and is also mostly identical in its functionality. A time frame is submitted and the related files are transmitted to the subject's brain. In this case, there are no issues with entering a time frame of a long duration, however. Depending on the amount of available data, the user will subconsciously select the most relevant memories. For more specific transfer, additional keywords can also be entered. In your case, Valerie, it's likely that null, focused on memories related to Emilia. Yeah, makes sense. So, as you can see, both of the procedures operate only with previously recorded sets of data. There is no way to, for example, submit fake entries for a direct transfer. That is because every entry is automatically encoded in a way that only allows the original user to read it. So it's the other way around as well, right? Each neural link can only access memory data that was generated by in the first place, or something. That's the gist of it, yeah. So, really, you don't need to worry, Adrian. Your memories haven't been tampered with, apart from the day of our abduction being overwritten. Well, who knows? Still means Null could have deleted some earlier entries as well, for whatever reason. I simply smile and nod anyway. Atoshi still hasn't come around to the actual question. So what about indirectly manipulating our memories, or whatever you mean by that? Yes, of course. While the two procedures I just described are the most common uses for the connector, there are others as well. One of those is called abstract transfer. As the name suggests, it is used to transfer abstract ideas, feelings, and thoughts. They aren't fully legit memories by themselves, but connect to already existing ones instead. The transfer data is, in this case, similar in structure to what Valerie has mentioned earlier about how nanologs used to store emotional data on top of the conversation logs, so that data doesn't have to stem from the person it's being transferred to, right? Correct. However, as I have explained it can be used to insert false memories, only to alter feelings connected to them. I see. So that means Emilia is real. That's cool, probably. Either way, I'm beginning to grasp what these pods are for. Do I understand how they work? Fuck no. What the hell do any of these words mean? But I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what they can be used for, and really, that's probably much more relevant anyway. Oliver, on the other hand, seems to have given up a while ago. So, that's great and all, but why did Null open this whole thing up again? Does any of this actually get us anywhere? It's certainly nice to know what the hell happened to our memories. Guess so. Well, aside from that, mechanical clicking sounds come from the terminal, which Evelyn is now typing away at. There are two sets of data stored on this setup, one belonging to Valerie, the other to Adrian. What are you getting at? Well, I suspect those to be the reason why Null opened this room for us. Both sets of data are limited to certain time frames, likely ones that are supposed to help you remember something that could potentially help us going forward. Memories of Emilia, would those really make a difference? Makes sense, that's why it's just data of those two, huh? So like, you want us to get into these things? I am only suggesting that it would be a possibility. I can hardly judge how much it would truly benefit us, of course. Are you sure these things are safe though? Like, couldn't this be some kind of trap by Null? I'm certain that's not the case. I have been running a couple of tests on it. while we were talking, the software itself does not appear to be manipulated in any way. Also, don't see much reason to suspect this of being a trap. Seems like we were already in this pose anyway. If no one wants to do anything crazy to our brain, he could have done that by now. Well, he kinda did. However, I do not want to force you into compliance either way. It was merely an idea. Do you want to relive those memories? Not like I never read through these entries. But this might be different. This might truly take me back. I shudder, thinking back to how I felt when I first woke up. A disgusting feeling, having her words haunt me once more. Well, I don't know about you, but it sounds like an alright idea to me. Do we have any alternatives anyway? I mean, we still had some things to discuss with you, like about those documents and stuff. You haven't even seen those. Yeah, and I still gotta tell you about how I've known Emilia. Not like you can tell her about it otherwise. She's just as hesitant as I am, huh? And just like me, she refuses to outright say it. Oh, don't worry about that. Once we set everything up, I can tell Oliver about it. All about that. With timing of the essence, splitting up might be more efficient, wouldn't you say? Yeah, I agree. Definitely sounds like the best course of action to me. Of course they agree on that. I mean, they're right. But also, they aren't the ones that are about to enter one of these things. Indeed. Ugh, I shrug. Guess so. Valerie seems somewhat taken aback by my decision. After a while, she simply sighs. Well, I'll take that as a yes. Alright, Evelyn, can I do anything to help? These folks did drink too much water. Toilet it is! Be right back! Awa! Another hydrate redeem it is. Thank you. By the way, this fox is getting a bit tired, so I think we're gonna continue for 10 more minutes and then I'm gonna end the stream, alright? It's been a longish stream today. For the fox standards, at the very least. Well, I take that as a yes. Alright, Evelyn, can I do anything to help? No, I don't think so. Just give me a couple of seconds so I can set everything up. And for a couple of seconds, her fingers dance across the keyboard in front of her, then stop. Yeah, there's a good point to stop when you're entering the pod, probably. Oh, wow. Okay, thank you. 2 of the pods light up. She hadn't exaggerated, she only needed those seconds. They're ready. Valerie, please enter the one right next to me. Adrian, the other one is set up for you. Simply lift the lid. It should not be as heavy as it looks. I nod then walk towards the pod in the middle of the room. Lean forward ever so slightly. I grab a hold of the lid and slowly pull it upwards. She was right, it's not as heavy as it looks. Like Oliver mentioned, the inside is filled with water despite not being particularly deep. I wonder. So we're just going into the water, just like that? Correct. What's the hold up? Worried about your shoes getting wet? Oh, you can take the shoes off. You can take those off if you'd like. If you came to visit one of our facilities, you would generally undress before entering one of the pods, of course. I simply assumed that neither of you would prefer that in this situation. Yeah, nah, I'm alright. I nod. Without any further thoughts, I simply step inside, one foot, then the other. Okay. And this is where we're gonna stop. I don't think I'm gonna be able to stream this evening. But, we're gonna see each other tomorrow. And I'm gonna stream something cozier for that little brain cell break, you know? The very needed brain cell break. So I hope you did enjoy this stream, Cinnamon Buns. I hope you're enjoying the game. I truly am enjoying it so far. I'm more and more curious coming to how it proceeds, and I want to know as much as possible about what's going on, and what we were hiding, why, and what we possibly forgot. And also, perhaps, the reason behind the title of this visual novel. So, thank you kindly Cinnamons for stopping by today. It was a nice stream together with you once again. I had plenty of fun. This visual novel is quite cool to go through. And so, these are my socials in case you want to check them out. This is my Discord server where you can always hop on for the real-time notifications. There are always coming to my notifications, coming to all of the content in case you're interested. Thank you for stopping by. It was a nice stream from what I've seen. Thank you kindly, I'm glad to hear so. So as always, we're gonna see whom to rate today. So give me a second. The brain is almost not braining. At that turret, it is the fox. Let's see. Okay. We're going to raid Ariane, the half-dragon VTuber. She's currently working on some art. She is great at art, honestly. So yeah, we're gonna raid the dragon VTuber. Be sure to show her some love, alright? So this is the raid message. Keep your raid for a Gyepi Day so that they will have a Gyepi Day. We will also have the version with no emotes in case you're not subscribed. So there you go. And let's begin the raid, Cinnamon Buns. Hop on. We are raiding Aryu today. So we're gonna see each other tomorrow. I'm gonna warn you beforehand, as always, on my socials. And have a Gyepi Day. Thank you kindly for stopping by. Bye bye!